Okay, now we're on to items 10 through 12, and let's look at the number of questions that we have to deal with, and that would be, looks like three questions right here, and so we'll jump on that. Again, let's not start reading here. Let's look at the questions first, kind of skipping ahead, and looks like everything's on one page. Wonderful. So it says the following. Which of the following words or phrases, if inserted in order into the blanks in the passage, would help the reader understand the sequence of the writer's ideas? So we get more types of insertions in there. Item 12 says, according to the information presented in the passage, what should one do immediately after placing the film in the developing tank? And then item 11, which of the following is best meaning of the word solution as it is used in the passage? Well, just by looking at these questions, I'm thinking that this is going to be some kind of sequencing structure that we're going to have to look for in this essay. And so when we're looking at the order in which things come, I'm thinking that I'm going to wait on 10. I'm going to wait on this one right here because I have to read the whole thing to see what's going to fit. Probably going to be able to pick off solution a little quicker, and then so maybe this one's going to be first, this one will be second, and then this one will be last, just based on the order of things that, in which they're presented. So let's look at the opening. It says the following, blank. Most people know that film must be developed into negatives before making photographs. Few are familiar with the process. In black and white photography, film is removed from the canister in a darkroom and placed in a special light-resistant developing tank. When the film is safely in the tank, it is safe to turn on the lights and begin the developing process. Many of the same basic procedures are used to develop color film. The first step is to add a chemical developer that brings out the images on the film's photosensitive surface. The developer is later poured out and replaced with a liquid stop bath, an acidic solution that prevents any further reaction between the film and the developer. After the stop bath is poured off, a fixing bath is added, at which point the film can be exposed to light without being damaged. The fixing bath is then poured off, the developing tank opened, and the film washed to remove any chemical residue. Blank, the negatives are dried and dust free. Okay, so clearly I think solution is going to be the easiest one, and it's easier to pick that one off. It's a mixture, and that's because that's what they're describing in there are chemical mixtures, and so mixtures and solution go along with the context of the paragraph. Looking at item number 12 now in here, it says the following. According to the information presented in the passage, what should one do immediately after placing film in the tank? Well, going back to the paragraph, if we look right in this section right here, in black and white photography, film is removed from the canister in a darkroom and placed in a special light-resistant developing tank. When the film is safely in the tank, it is safe to turn on the lights and begin the developing process. Many of the same basic procedures are used to develop color film. The first step is to add a chemical developer that brings out the image. So it's clearly A. You have to add a chemical developer. All of the rest are, distractors. Check the surface of the film, no. Turn off the lights, no. Place the tank in a dust-free location, add a stop bath, no. That's later on in the process. Now, all of these were sequences of steps. So really what this was getting at in these blanks right here was about sequence. And so the words that are going to be most useful to you for a sequence will not be even if or however. That is all about contrast. You are not contrasting things in here. Since and consequently is sort of an equation, if this then that. Although and finally especially is all about sequence. So that's really in the running right here. Because in meanwhile, that's more pertaining to time and duration. While and as a result is another sort of consequence or equation type statements. So looking at what's going to fit the best, let's read it with C in mind. Although most people know that film must be developed into negatives before making photographs, few are familiar with the process. Skip down. The fixing bath is then poured off and the developing tank opened and the film washed to remove any chemical residue. Finally, the negatives are dried and in a dust-free location. So clearly it's C, just based on the sequencing structure present in that those sentences. Okay, so hopefully that was pretty easy for you. Let's move on to the next, if we could.